Okay, so today I'm going to talk about masks for a little bit. So masks do just that. They mask out something. Masks are in black and white, and they're set up to where whatever is white will be revealed and whatever is black will be concealed. So a really common thing to do with masks is, or at least the way that I use masks, is I will create a fill layer, and what I mean by that is and I'm using Krita, so this will be G. I will just fill the canvas with something, and I'm a gradient, so crud. Maybe it is F. I could have sworn. If I need to, I can fudge it with the gradient, but okay, there we go, it is F. Alright, and there's a little bit of, there we go. Alright, so now we've got a fill layer. So now I'm going to create a layer mask, and in Krita, you have to go under this, and we're going to add a mask, and we're going to add a transparency mask. Sometimes it's called a layer mask, sometimes it's called a transparency mask. So I'm going to add a transparency mask on my layer. So now I've got a white mask. Well, the reason that nothing changed is because white, if you remember, reveals, well, the whole thing is white, so everything's visible. So what I'm going to do is you want to have the mask itself selected, not the layer. If you do the layer, because what I'm fixing to do is do Control I to invert the color, and if you do that, then you notice it just changes the color. But if you have the mask selected rather, and you hit I, you notice everything vanished. Well, it didn't vanish. What happened is I just swapped the mask color to black. So, what can we do with this? I'm going to change to brush, and I want to make sure that my brush color is on white. So now I'm still on the mask. You want to make sure that you're on the mask, always on the mask, and you want to, and I'm going to make my brush bigger so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm now going to start drawing, and I'm going to write some Japanese characters. So what I'm writing is I'm just writing the kanji for Japanese. But you'll notice that it's blue, it's not white or black. And the reason is because I'm actually drawing on that mask. So I'm not really painting so much as I'm just revealing the layer that's underneath. So now, what can we do with this? So in Krita, this is a little different. Again, all painting programs work differently. Sometimes you use layer folders to do what I'm about to do. Sometimes you use multiple masks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a second paint layer. And I'm going to make it red, just so it really stands out. And so now you see, just like before, the whole color shifted. Okay, and just like before, I'm going to, or before I do just like before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Alt key. I'm going to drag up. And you'll notice that now we have, what that did is that copied the mask from the layer below it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invert this. So now you'll notice that we have our blue text and we have the red background. Cool, right? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come up to this layer and we're going to add a transparency mask. So now we have two of them. Now just like before, I'm going to hit Control I. And you notice now it looks like the same thing we had before. Okay, well watch this. This is super cool, and this is the whole point of the lead up that I had. So now, if I draw on this second transparency mask, and I'm going to make darn sure that my color is white, it was not. Now, when I draw, watch this. I'm just going to very quickly just scribble. Oh, look at that. See, and here's the power of these nested masks. So, because I already have a mask that's masking out the blue part, I will never draw on that blue part underneath. That's masked out. And so you can do this over and over again, and so what this is useful for is, let's say the blue part was my shading. Well, whenever I go to do my highlights, I can create an inverse mask of my shading to ensure that my highlights and my shading never overlap the same place, because that doesn't make sense anyway. You know, shading is supposed to emulate the way that light hits an object. That being said, you wouldn't have a place with both highlights and shading. It's not 100% true when you start getting into things like glass or reflections, because you can have stuff bouncing off the table and you get a reflection from the table beneath it, but that is really neither here nor there on that. This is just a really quick and dirty to show how putting multiple masks on an object work. Like I said, depending on your paint program, what you may have to do instead of doing this is Krita, so this is just the way Krita does transparency masks. So for things like Photoshop, Photoshop does things a little differently. You can create a folder and put a mask on a folder. And so what you would do in that case is you would have a folder that you would have one of these masks on, and then inside the folder you would put another mask on your layer and draw that. But it's kind of the same premise. The goal is to have multiple masks where one mask kind of masks out what you drew on a separate layer, and one mask doesn't. Now, you may be asking yourself, before I end this, why go to all this trouble? Why not just draw? Okay, well, let's say that way down the road I have like 8 layers like this, and I want this blue text to be green. Now, normally you would have to painstakingly color that, but all I'm going to do, I'm going to change to green, and I'm going to make sure I'm on the paint layer. Look at that. That quick. Same thing with this, like if I wanted this to be kind of this goldish yellow color, like my background, that quick. So this can be really, really a huge time saver if you're trying to make like a base, or you want a way to very quickly swap the colors of your characters. This is huge. But yeah, that's how masks work. More specifically, that's kind of how nested masks work. I really, really hope that you found this helpful, and if you did, please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks.